Greetings from Kotak Securities. We are delighted to welcome you to the Fund Managers League session powered by Private Client Group of Kotak Securities. Before we start the webinar, I'd like to introduce Akshay, who leads the product practice at PCG, who will give you a small introduction about Private Client Group.
Thank you, Pratika, and thank you all for joining us on a Saturday morning. Now, most of you would know us, but for those of you who don't, I'll just take a couple of minutes before we start the much-awaited session by Mr. Virender Bansal. Let me just give me a minute. I'll just put on the presentation. Yeah. So, Kotak Group, as most of you would know, is the largest wealth manager in the country, and we manage, around 2.5 lakh crores of assets. Kotak Securities, on the other hand, is the fully owned subsidiary of Kotak Mahindra Bank. Meanwhile, Private Client Group within Kotak Securities is the vertical which is dedicated to the differentiated needs of high net worth individuals. Now, in terms of our proposition, apart from our deep expertise into equity, we also help you protect and grow your wealth with well-diversified portfolio solutions and low-cost offerings like the direct mutual funds. We also help you with your banking and credit needs, and we also have offerings like the stock lending and borrowing with us. So in terms of direct equity offerings, we have a lot of equity baskets, which help you generate returns in the long and short term. We have derivative strategies which help generate additional returns on dormant portfolios. We have, opportunities in the unlisted space as well from time to time. I spoke to you about SLBM, which helps you leverage your idle portfolios, helps you earn from your dormant investments there. There are opportunities on the, arbitrage and buyback side as well, which we'll bring to you from time to time. Apart from that, so there's a self-explanatory slide on the investment process. I'll just spend a minute on this, which begins by identifying the needs and assessing your risk appetite. Once we have enough clarity on that, we always recommend you to diversify through the right asset allocation and then the right product fit. So we always recommend that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You always allocate across asset between equity, debt, gold, different asset classes. This is something which is being followed in a very robust manner in PCG. Asset allocation, this is something that I already spoke to you about. Apart from that, for those of you who are into trading, we have a very robust platform which is also backed by offerings such as free intraday trading. For a small subscription amount, you can get free intraday trading throughout the year, along with zero account opening fee and low brokerage on delivery trades. So we have several trading platforms which are available on the app as well as on the desktop. In terms of research prowess, it's our top-notch research has helped us a long way in the last 20 odd years, and it has also helped us take decisions like avoiding credit risk, from the debt market from 2018 onwards, which has immensely helped our client portfolios. It has also helped us, shift our stance between equity and debt, and within equities, between large and mid-cap basis valuations. Then, coming on to what you get being a part of PCG, you get access to all our research, client meets and conferences, as well as webinars like this one. So we want this to be a bilateral process where you grow your knowledge and wealth along with us. Now, at the end, so all through this journey, you will be supported by a relationship manager as well as a dealer along with our customer service team, which will help you guide, to in your wealth management journey over a period of time. So that's all from my side. I'll not waste much of your time here. I'll hand it over back to Ketri. Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks, Akshay. That was quite insightful. I would like now to introduce our guest speaker, Virender Bansal, Managing Partner, Panthuil Fund Managers LPP. He holds a degree in MSF, Finance, MBA, and has nearly 14 years of professional work experience. He started his journey with CNBC TV 18, where he headed the equity research team and is in charge of key events like Union Budget, Indian Business Leaders Awards, etc. He currently manages a fund focused on identifying companies which have seen good and bad cycles with strong products, proven management, and capable of outpacing industry growth. I'd like to welcome him.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, Kritika. I think I can start now, right?
Yes, sir, please.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. And first of all, many thanks to Kotak Securities and Sai, for giving me this opportunity uh, to present you, yet another webinar, if I can say, because there's abundance of webinars which are happening in. So I have tried to put in, few things which are a bit different. I hope it helps everyone. But first of all, thank you so much, Kotak Securities. Before we start, of course, usual disclaimer that I am not a CB registered investment advisor. Our funds may have vested interest in the companies which we are discussing and maybe holding the stocks as well. While the best efforts have been made to present factual, accurate facts, and we have also mentioned about the sources wherever possible, accuracies of sources can't be vouched for. Please, goes without saying that do your own due diligence and consult your financial advisor before buying or selling any company mentioned in the presentation. Congratulations, first of all, to everyone. No one thought about this, but we have the world has seen the biggest 50-day rally in the history of S&P 500. And I always believe one thing that it's very fancy these days. It's very fashionable these days to talk about macros. A lot of people on Twitter or WhatsApp, they are more knowledgeable than the doctors itself on what will happen to coronavirus and the patients, and very few people understand what are macros. The only thing what we as investors can do is I'll put it very simply कि क्या लेना है और किस भाव पे लेना है. It is the most important thing to do. So focus on micros rather than debating on macros, because in the last so many years we have seen that the most important thing what remains constant is that how you navigate all these ups and downs, drawdowns which comes in. So bhav nahi swabhav is very important in the stock market. So this is one quote which I really like, and I got it from a WhatsApp group. So investing isn't about beating others at their game. It is about controlling yourself at your own game. I think controlling is the most important word, and I'll tell you, when we go ahead, why this word control remains very important. When you are, in the investment world. So look, what happens in the investment world. So you can see, it's as I said, it's very fancy and fashionable, to say what is going on. To pick only telecom, healthcare, chemicals, stocks because they are fashionable, to talk about FANG, which is fashionable. So the media will always highlight all those things, what is going on. So if you see Apple at all-time high, buy, you will have 100 technical calls coming in and everything. But if you just see what goes behind Apple coming at all-time high, look at this chart. Now, of course, this data is a bit old-dated and sourced from Charlie Twitter handle. So if you just see the actual story behind Apple journey to all-time high, so look at the drawdowns. The drawdowns in Apple history, two times in the history, it was more than 80%. One time it was 70%. 3-4 times 50% drawdowns it has seen in the last 20-25 years. So the idea is very simple, that talking about multi-baggers is very fashionable, but the journey what it takes to reach a multi-bagger, it is not everyone's cup of tea. So everyone wants they should hold Titan, but the journey what RJ and many others have gone through holding this kind of a company, you need a very emotional strength to it. So this data is very beautiful to understand that if you are having that emotional content of holding a stock after looking at 80% drawdowns, then you are actually winner. So the now point is that how can you make money? So this is what I believe in, that if you can make money, I think first of all we have to be very simple in thinking. Don't try to be complex. So how can you make money? If you have identified the right cycle or right theme. So if you've identified the right cycle, say technology in 2000, you picked any company, you made money. If you identified chemical as a sector, say 5-6 years back, you picked any company, small cap, mid cap, large cap, you made money. Second important thing is that you have to pay the right price. There has to be a margin of safety. So if you're buying something at 30, 40, 50 multiples, you may make money because the cycle, if the cycle is still going up, then you will make money. But if you are buying something which is already very expensive, has moved up in terms of valuations, double or triple in terms of money what you were paying in to buy it, it becomes very difficult to make that extra kind of return. So the margin of safety, right price is very important. And third, as everyone says, that avoid mistakes. I think market में it's very fancy to say कि क्या लेना है क्या लेना है. I always says that क्या नहीं लेना है is more important than क्या लेना है. So think about what are your rejection parameters when you think about buying a company. And when it comes to all these things, then think granular. So after looking at all those things, then you have to think very granular in terms of what is the product of the company, what is the management of the company, are they proven or not, what kind of cash flows and all those things. Then granularity is the most important thing to go for. So now, can we make money now in the stock market? So all the negatives which are there in the market. So world is coming to an end. COVID 1, wave 2, wave 3, lockdown. So you can have any kind of negatives which are going around, and honestly, no one knows when it will end. Has it ended? The markets are celebrating. There is a derating of many sectors which is going on. Some of the negative people around can say about that India can't match the world and all. But out of all those things, the only one thing which is with us, is the valuations. And I will stress on this point again and again, that as an equity investor, we should not get too much worried about all the negatives which are going around. We should focus more and more at what price we are able to buy a company, what we want to buy. And again, I will get through those details later in the presentation. So I'll go through the macros, because honestly, you're not here to listen to macro yarn of mine. There are enough of macro people who are much more intelligent than me, who has given presentations, webinars earlier. I want to focus on micros, but just to give a small synopsis that that if you go back to the history, you have seen that whenever you bought into the mayhem, you always made money. So you look at the last 10, 12 corrections, the corrections which started from 15 to 30, 60, 70%, and after a gap of 1 year, 2 years, we have always made money in most of the cases. One thing which I want to highlight in this presentation is that we keep on talking about Nifty, or what has happened in terms of Nifty 10,000 level or whatever, Bank Nifty. It's only the 50 or 30 stocks in Sensex we are watching. Indian market is very large. Indian market is like what you could have in listed companies around 2,000 companies. The data is available for nearly 5,000 companies, but the listed traded companies is nearly 2,000 companies. So there is a market much bigger than what you are watching on TV every day, or which is being provided in the papers. So even if you look at Nifty for one sense, there is a huge disparity in terms of what is happening with few stocks and the broader market. So even in the Nifty, these two stocks are still down more than 40% from 2 years high. We all know what is happening to Reliance. Reliance market cap is more than top 3 private banks in India. If you just see the top 15 companies, the market cap of those top 15 companies as a market cap of the entire listed pack is highest since what we have seen in global financial crisis. But mid cap index is the one which has been in the bear market since Jan 2018. So we are already there since last 3.5 years. So if you go deep into some of these companies, you will understand that even if you take, say, companies which have market cap over 100 crores, so say which are nearly 1,400 companies, still nearly 1/3 of the companies are trading more than 50% below the 52-week highs. Still, nearly 2/3 companies, nearly 1,000 companies are trading more than 50% compared to all-time high. As an investor, our work is to identify those 15, 20 companies and sit on those companies, whenever we get a chance to buy these companies at an excellent price, as I said, margin of safety. One thing which I believe and have been believing, from last, few years is that cycles are very important. So if you look at the cycles since last 20 years, So what happened in 1996 to 2000? So it was technology and media. So you invested even in MTNL, you made lots of money. You invested in any technology company. Technology was one thing which everyone loved. So even if it was HFCL or DSP software or anything, Z Media or anything, you made 1000%, 2000%, 4000% during that cycle itself. So cycle it was very important. 2003, 2008, it was infrastructure, commodities, real estate. So whether it was even the worst of the companies, which is right now, so Unitech or any other company, HDIL or any DB Corp or Unit or DLF and everyone, you made tons of money. JSPL, you made what 100, 200 bagger. 2009 and 14, it was consumption, pharma and FMCG. So if you invested, in starting that period, you picked any company, whether it is small cap, mid cap, large cap, you made money. 2015-19 it was autos, financials, NBFCs or HFCs. Again, if you picked any company, you made money, whether it's Yes Bank, Dewan Housing Bank, any company you can talk about. So if you identify the cycle right, if you identify the right cycle, I think that is very, very, very important. So you made tons of money. So what we believe in that going ahead in 2020, I have been very vocal in terms of, the manufacturing being another one sector which will create a lot of wealth going ahead. So now in manufacturing, it's B2B businesses, whether it's import substitution, chemical APIs, or the non-lending financial services, whether it's insurance, wealth, asset management, some healthcare companies, staffing companies, food, water, and sectors where there has been more supply in the last 10 years. I'll dwell onto this going ahead. So all the people who have that fancy for bigger names, bigger companies. So please go back and even check about that there were times when HUL or even Infosys never moved for 10-15 years. So it's not that if you invest in a great company, you will always make great returns. I think the key here is that you have to identify the right sector, right team. If you do so, then you catch a leader in that company, and then you will make tons of money. So again, dwelling a bit more in terms of the cycles, see the leadership, how it changes in every particular different period. So if you talk about cycles between 2006 to 2018, it was utilities, private banks. Utilities were the most important, which led, and what underperformed, autos underperformed, in that period. What happened with 2008 to 2015, you can see what is happening to healthcare now. Healthcare didn't do anything since last 5-6 years, now has come back, but it was a golden period at that time, it was doing well. Real estate was down nearly 90% between that period. So this is how the cycles change. So if you look at now what is happening in, as I said, it's very fancy. You can see that everyone holding a large weightage in telecom, healthcare, of course, has trimmed down to financials, banking and financials. But there are few sectors which are now still the lowest in the last 10 years. If you see the weightage, look at capital goods. Capital goods, if I can use this, yeah. So capital goods, the largest weightage what we have seen was 8.7%. Now it is nearly 3%. Look at cement. Cement is 2.4%. The largest what we have gone was 4.2%. Metals is very interesting. We have seen weightage of nearly 8.5% in the index, but now it is 2%. I think this is the lowest since last 10, almost a decade or so. Telecom, as I said, it is coming back, but telecom weightage was as high as 11% going back in 2008. Now it is 3.6%. Utilities, which was 13.3%, it is down to 2.5%. So there are few sectors which are still having a weightage which is the lowest in the last 10 years. The point here is whether these sectors can come back or not. See, what is happening in telecom right now, it is not, it has started right now. There has been huge consolidation in the telecom space in the last 10 years. So, we were having around 20-25 players. Now it has come down to 3. What has only changed right now is the demand has come back. So, that is why you are seeing huge, earnings accretion happening in some of these companies, and people, eyeing to buy all these companies, because in 10 years, they never looked at this sector. So now the same thing is happening in some of these companies, whether it's cap goods, cement, telecom, utilities, cap goods, metals, that there is no supply which has happened in the last 10 years, 12 years in some of these sectors. In power, you will tell me any other name which has been there in the last 10 years who has put a capex. Metals, apart from the existing companies, there is no other new guy who has come in and put a capex. Same with the utilities. So now only what we are waiting out for is that whether the demand can come back or not. And if the demand can come back, some of the valuations some of these companies are trading at is nothing. So anything can happen to some of these companies. So as I said, cap goods, you see what has happened. So between the period from 2002 to 2008, the index went up 40 times. L&T went up 10 times in 2 years. Cemex, Thermex, all of them surged up nearly 5 to 10 times in 2 years. So now it's not fashionable to talk about L&T, or Siemens or Thermex or any of these cap goods companies. But there was a phase in the market between that 2002 to 2008 period when everyone used to own tons and tons and tons of cap goods. As I said, cycles are very, very important. Look at metal index. Metal index went from 4,000 to nearly 20,000, nearly 5 times in the period between 2005 to 8. SAIL, Tata Steel, whichever name you pick up, it went up 5-10 times during that period. Again, it was a cyclical story which was there. Now metal index, the valuations are at nearly 15-year low. So which used to be at 4.4 book, some of these companies or the sector itself has come down to 0.6, 0.7 book value. So this is the kind of destruction which has happened in some of these sectors. Now, if someone can give you a fancy report in terms of telling you that metals at these value, you buy these companies, but the important thing to look at is that whether these companies can, whether one are they leaders in the space what they operate in the entire sector. Second, the balance sheet has to be strong for some of these players. It has not to be deteriorated. So look for broken prices, but not broken balance sheet in some of these sectors. Look at the power sector. Honestly, for me, it looks very interesting. The index, has doubled between 2009 to 2011. We all remember what happened to JSPL. It went up by nearly 8-9 times. And of course, how can we forget about Reliance Power IPO coming in 2008? But since last 10-12 years, again, as I say, there is more supply which has come into the sector. You name me any other power company apart from 2-3 private companies which are there in India. There's no one else who has put a capex in this space. And what is happening to coronavirus? There is no capex. There is no one can put up additional capex going ahead. So people who have invested money already are the one. If the demand comes back, they are the ones who will benefit the most. If you just see, did you know Unitech market cap went from 10 crore to 1 lakh crore, 10 crore to 1 lakh crore. JP Associates was a favorite among all fund managers between 2005 to 8. It went from some 30 rupees to 300 rupees. GVK went from some 10-15 rupees to 19 rupees. Reliance Capital from 150 to 2,500 rupees. The idea here to tell you is that it's very, very fancy on media, on channels, on papers to talk about the winners and everything. Please don't get disdained by all the stock price movements which is going on everyday basis. Important is to see which company you're sitting on, in which cycle are you sitting for, whether it's a start, midpoint, or the last point of each and every cycle. Then only you can make money. Don't try to invest in the fanciest times in the market. That can prove ugly if you're stuck into some of these names. Now, we all know the recovery is happening. Of course, the recovery is happening in the stock market. But if you just see some of the data points which are shared beautifully by some of the reports, whether it's Credit Suisse, Motilal, JP Morgan, so you can see that there are signs of recovery. Whether it's the global factory activities all across the world, whether it's the US car sales which are picking up across the nation, whether it's in India, we can see what is happening to eBay, vehicle registrations, power, retail. So we can see there are signs of recovery which is happening in. Again, as I said, I'll run through macros because I want to focus on micros. The workplace activities, the traffic congestion, the power demand. This is one important chart which is taken from Motilal. So power demand is the first indicator for any resumption of economic activities which are taking place. The manufacturing PMI index is also picking up slightly, considering what it fell from 51, 54 to as low as 27 in the month of April. So it is picking up. So there are improvements which are happening in. So at least to recap, what we did right now is that the cycles are very, very important. In which cycle are you investing in, in the equity markets? Second important point is that what prices are you investing in? So are you having a margin of safety while you're investing in? It remains very, very critical. So, and of course, it has to be a good company, good management, when you think of investing in any company. So, focusing on micros. So as I said, so for me, as I said, Nifty is only 50 companies, Sensex is only 30 companies. India is blessed to have nearly 2,000 actively traded companies, 5,000 listed companies but not traded. So there are too many companies which you can choose from mid cap, small cap space. But unfortunately, because it's their work, TV or media focuses majorly on the F&O stocks, which are some 120, 130, or the companies which are there in news and everything. But everyone will miss out on a lot of names till the time they get sexy. Some till the time they get spoken about, till the time the stock price is double, triple. That is when they will focus on. So the idea of this entire presentation is not to talk about all those names which you keep on seeing on TV or media every day, but the idea is that whether if you go a bit under, whether you can identify some of the companies which is only a starting point, which is only say 10% work done, and then go back and even look at some of the names uh, to learn more about those companies. I have put 4 screeners, and I will try to simplify the process for you. As I said, the idea here is to focus only on the process and not on the company. This is not the end. This is only the start. As I said, the screening part is only 10% of the work done. You have to go back. You have to understand about the company's strength, the product strength, the management quality, and everything, and then go ahead whether you want to invest or not with your financial advisor help and everything. So let's start with the first screener. So the first idea comes to my mind is that everyone keeps on talking about ROC, ROC, ROC. So I want to know that if there are any companies which are available right now, where the ROCs are more than 15% and available at less than 10 times earnings multiple, that is on TTM basis. So the few things which I want to look at is that I want companies which should have a market cap over 100 crores. So we have excluded all the smaller companies. Of course, this is very micro cap, but you will see the list is not that much. The ROCs has to be more than 15%, which is good. Second is that the debt equity has to be less than 2 times. The trailing price earning, I have get it down to less than 10 times. The promoter holding, because the promoter should have some skin in the game when we're talking about investing in that company, so it has to be more than 40%. The pledge has to be less than 5%. The promoter's pledge has to be less than 5%. So now I want to understand if I put all these criteria into the screener, where I've been used. I've taken the data from Capital Line and Screener.in as a disclosure. So if I do this, whether can I get some of the companies or not? And I have sorted this list via the biggest fall from 52-week high. Now I don't know how much it is clear or not, but also what I've did is that apart from the market cap, ROCE, average ROCE for last 5 years, the debt equity ratio, the price earning multiple on the TTM basis, the promoter holding pledge, I've also seen whether these companies or some of these companies are paying dividends or not, and importantly, are they growing companies or not? Whether I have seen sales growth over last 5 years and profit growth over last 5 years. Some of the names which have come in again, these names could be debated. Everyone could have different views. I just said, at the risk of sounding repetitive, this is the start. You go back and do your own work as well. But some of the names like Zensa Tech, CRM Milks, Power Mech Projects, Action Construction, Maharashtra Seamless, Indian Hume Pipes, Apar Industries, Isjet Heavy, Cochin Shipyard, Minda Corporation, Anup Engineering, Kirloskar Pneumatic, GTPL Hathway, Transport Corporation, West Coast, Insecticides, PSP Projects, Kalyani Steel, Excel Industries, Mithun Alloys, Pokarna, HPCL, JK Paper, Nuclear Software, Voltem Transformers, HG Infra Engineering are some of the names which have come up. If I just sort by sectors, because I also want to know that okay, let's see about sectors. So in chemicals, I can and I have of course shortened the list from some 80-90 names to as low as some 40-50 names as per my discretion. So you can have your own discretion as well. So in chemicals, I can find one Excel Industries. In computers, I can find Nuclear Software. In construction, I can see PSP and KNR. In dyes and pigments, I can see Ultramarine Pigments, and you can have to see these companies like Ultramarine, 565 crore market cap, ROC is 16%, average ROC is 20%, debt equity is almost nil, trailing price earning multiple is 9, promoter holding is 50%. The stock is not much, it's almost trading near 52-week high. 3% dividend yield, sales growth, yes, it's a growing company. Voltem Transformers, 950 crores market cap, ROC is 18%, 5-year ROC is 14%, zero debt equity, 9 times earnings multiple, promoter holding 50%. It's down to nearly 40% from 52-week high. dividend yield, yes. Growing company, yes. Sales and PAT growth. So as you can see that you can now divide these companies in sector basis. And as I said, cycles are very important. So you have to identify for yourself that which are the sectors you like the most for whatever reasons are there. As I said, I am basically our fund is basically focused more on the B2B manufacturing space. So these are some of the companies we would like to study going ahead. So Action Construction, ISJEC, Anup Engineering, PowerMac, Kawai Medical, Mathan Alloys, Pokarna, Polyplex, Maharashtra Seamless, Kalyani Steel, CRM, KPR, KEC International. So if I again, as I said, I'll repeat this. So if I take companies which are more than 100 crores market cap, ROCs are greater than 15%, debt equity is less than 2 times, valuations are less than 10 times on a TTM basis, promoter holding is more than 40%, pledge is less than 5%, dividend paying companies, sales growth, yes, over last 5 years, profit growth, yes, over last 5 years. Can you get those names or not? The idea is to tell you, yes, you can get those names. Yes, you can, still search for companies which are more than 50% below 52-week high. Yes, there could be 15, 20 names as per your own choice of sectors. You can also go ahead and strict some of these criteria what we have put in. But you, as per your own choice, you will find those 5 to 10 companies where you want to study them more going ahead right now. On the same parameters, there are few companies I wanted to see. Are there companies where there are ROCs of more than 15%, but are they trading at less than 5 times or not? If I do less than 5 times, I still find few companies, but the issue here is that they have pledge. So not surprising the way move has come on NCC in the last few days. So you can see NCC, again, this data is taken some 1 or 2 days back. So pardon me for, the market cap moving higher now. But the market cap around whatever, ROC is over 14%, 20%. Average ROC is 14%. Debt equity is 0.4, which is manageable. The debt equity came to as low as nearly 2.5, 3 times for NCC. Promoter holding less, which I don't like honestly. Pledge is there, which again, is debatable. The stock has come down nearly 80% from all time, 50-week high. Dividend yield, yes. Sales growth, yes, and not. Another interesting name, in the metal space could be Jindal Stainless, SR, Godavari Power, Sindoor Manganese. So if you some of these companies are trading at 2 times, 3 times, less than 5 times. But as I said, the issue here is pledge. So as an investor, you have to be comfortable not with some of these names. But as I said, ROC is over 20%, coming at less than 5 times multiple could be interesting. But go ahead and see the sector and the promoter and the balance sheet. So in the second schema, what we have done is that we have tried to be more strict in terms of some of the guidelines what we have put in, screeners what we have put in. So we are saying that okay, I want companies which should have market cap over 100 crores. Here the promoter holding has to be more than 50%. In the last screener we took only 40%. Here it is more than 50%. Pledge of course is less than 5%. I have taken ROCs here has to be more than 20%. In the last one it was 15%. Debt equity has to be less than 1 time. And of course, it has to be a growing company in terms of sales and PAT. So if I look at this, and I also what I have done is I've taken 5-year valuation PE as well, the average 5-year PE here, what it is, if you can see. And I have seen that which are the companies which are trading the maximum discount to the valuation what was given to these companies 5 years earlier on an average basis. And of course, the ROCs are very important in this case. So you can see some, and I have sorted this via the discount to 5-year price earning multiples. So you can see some of the names like Action Construction, which is coming, PowerMac is coming, Insecticides, Kukarna, Saregama, Apar Industries, Sun TV, La Opola, Cummins, Lux Industries, PSP Projects, Oracle Financial Services, Bharat Electronics, KEC International, Kaplan Point, Hexaware, Reeves Cotton, DFM Foods, KPR Mills, Kalyani Steels, L&D Technologies, Nesco, TC Express, Inox, Excel Industries are some of the names which are coming in. As I said again, what we have taken is that we have seen that what is the market cap promoter holding pledge. Promoter holding, only companies where the promoter holding is more than 50%. Pledge has to be less than 5%. ROCs has to be more than 20%. Debt equity has to be less than 1 time, and we are seeing companies which are growing companies in terms of sales and PAT, but also importantly highlighted companies which are trading at the steepest discount to the 5 years valuation. So as I said, again, you go back, check some of the names, check the sectors if you like them or not. But can you find some of these companies with these kind of parameters? I think there are 20, 25 companies easily, according to everyone's wish list. You can find some of the names which are given here. There are a few other companies which comes in also with the same criteria, but the discount is not major. As I said, the last slide, the discount was as high as 70%, 60%, 50%. In this, the discount is not more, it is 25%. But look at some of the names just for, looking at some of the names like Sera, TTK Prestige, Godrej Agrovet, Lembic Pharma, Bajaj Auto, Granville Norton, Timken, Vesuvius, Mathan Alloys, Mahindra Logistics, Amritanjan. So now it depends on investor to investor. I, being a very conservative Bania investor, I am a very focused investor on GAR, growth at reasonable price. I will never pay more in order to buy it. If the growth is phenomenal, then I may consider it, but it is always better to have that margin of safety. I don't want to buy anything, at least in the bear market. As I say, never waste a bear market. If there is anything for sale, I will go and only buy some things on sale. I will not go to a fancy store and try to buy premium to it. So if you are only buying companies, at least in the bear market, don't waste it. There are umpteen companies, as I have shown you, which are trading at 40, 50, 60, 70% discount to their 5-year, 10-year averages. The third screener which I want to put here is that, can you identify companies which are having net cash on the balance sheet? So what we have done is we have taken companies which are having market cap over 500 crores. We want to see companies which have net cash, which is cash minus debt, and have divided it by market cap to see the percentage. I also want to see whether the dividend yield is there or not. If they're having cash, are they providing dividend or not? So the dividend has to be more than 3%. And looking at companies, whether we can identify some companies which are trading at less than 15 times. So if you look at some of the names, as I said, I have sorted it via net cash to market cap. So you can find some interesting names here, and of course the dividend yield as well. And the price earning has to be less than 15 times. So Garden Reach, I was surprised to see that the cash to market cap was 117%. BSE is sitting on 18. BSE can't you figure out, because the money what they're lying is not only for, it's for many other purposes and not idle money. Look at now the common approach here is that everyone tells me, Barinder, you will only find PSU companies in this list. So I wanted to see whether that is correct or not. So look at the names. Okay, let's see. Garden Reach, PSU, Cochin, PSU, Engineering is in India, PSU, Rights, PSU, Bale, PSU. So, it's just phenomenal that some of the companies are having dividend yield of 5, 6, 7, 8%, and no one wants to touch now. Now, my idea again is the same, that whether this kind of a cycle in which people love PSUs, which has happened in the past, can come back after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years or not. It can come back, but if it comes back, you will never find these kind of valuations, for some of these companies which are there. Cient was an interesting name which I came across. And so in the Cient, you can see that the multiple is 5 times. The debt is there. Cient is here. 7 times earnings multiple, no major debt. So cash to market cap is some 26%, and with a dividend yield of 7%. I think there was someone who bought Cient in the block deal in the last few days also. Gujarat Pipavav Port is there. You can see nearly 20%. They are sitting on cash to market cap with a dividend yield of 5%. So there are some private companies also, in case you don't like public names. Oracle is there. Nucleus Software is there. Shrikala Hasti Pipes, is an interesting name which came in. It's sitting on some 11% cash to market cap with 4.5% dividend yield. Hexaware, I think this company also announced delisting. So we got this name some 2 days back. So Hexaware came across. So you can see it's trading around 10 to 12 times TTM price earning. They have cash of nearly 820 crores, no debt, of course. So 10% cash to market cap with 3% dividend yield. Sonata Software, BEL, Cummins, Kalyani Steel. So it's not only PSU companies which are net cash companies, but there are some interesting, companies as well, private companies which are also coming in the screen. But as I said, only this will not help. You got to go ahead and see what is the growth of those companies' businesses. So sometimes, you don't want to be stuck in some of the names also, but important will be the sector, if you like it or not. Important will be the growth which comes from these companies going ahead or not. You don't want them to be value traps. Important will be the management, what they have done in the last 3-4 years. So these are critical things to understand about these companies going ahead. The fourth list or the screener, what I've done is, and I think this is very critical for very, very critical, is that which are the companies who have done capex. Because look what has happened in coronavirus is that right now no one can put additional capital. It's very, very tough to put in additional capital right now. So we want to see companies who have already invested in the past in terms of their gross block going up by whatever percentage in the last 5 years. But at the same time, they have done the capex via internal cash flows. They should not have taken huge debt, and their ROC should have been maintained. So can we look at some of the names where the capex has been done in the last 5 years? So if the demand comes back, these are the companies, because they are sitting on the capacity, they will benefit the most. So what I've done is that I have taken that market cap has to be more than 500 crores. Again, I these are the basic parameters I always want to be there, that the promoter holding has to be 40%, because as I said, in investing, rejection is more than important in selection. I don't want to be in companies where the promoter doesn't have the skin in the game. So promoter holding and pledge will always be there. Debt equity has to be less than 2 times. I want to see what is the 5-year gross block addition. I want to see how much is the debt addition and how much is the ROC in the last 5 years. So what I've done is I have sorted this via the absolute change in the gross block in the last 5 years. So if you just see, and of course those parameters I said, the market cap, LTV, 50-week high, the trailing price earning multiple, the trailing price to book multiple, promoter holding, as I said, has to be more than 40%, pledge has to be less than 5%, debt equity has to be less than 2 times. Now sorted via companies which have seen maximum gross block addition in the last 5 years, should not have taken much debt compared to the gross block addition in the last 5 years, and the ROC should have been maintained if I compare it to the last 5 years ROC. So Birla Corp was, of course, an interesting name. So Birla Corp moved up by what I think after the results moved up by 30-40%, not because only the results were great. I think because the market wanted to see this kind of execution from this company, because of the kind of capex what this company has done in the last 5 years. The ROCs were not coming from this company, but now they realize that the company has started giving the results, and that is why that huge valuation gap could not be sustained. Some other interesting names which are coming in this list, and again, depending on the sector, companies, and everything, you can go back and study some of these names. Varun Beverages, Aarti Industries. As I said, we as a disclosure, we have investments in Aarti. The kind of capex what this company has done in the last 5 years is nearly 2,000 crores. Haven't taken much debt. The ROCs are 18%, which are higher than the last 17%. So any company who is doing capex via internal cash flows, not taking debt and maintaining ROCs, I think that's a beautiful combination to invest in some of these companies. SIS, has been investing. Exide has been investing. L&T Infotech, look at this company. They invested some 1183 crore is the change in gross block in the last 5 years, and everything is from cash flows. Nothing. There's no debt what the company has taken, and the company is sitting on ROCs of 45%. Of course, this doesn't come cheap. Some 20-21 times earnings multiple for this company, but has done phenomenally well. Deepak Nitrite is one company which people have been bullish about, and look at the ROCs going up for this company. The capex what this company has done. Supreme Industries, again, you can see this company. I think they have done capex of nearly 1,000 crores, but haven't taken any debt from the market. They have repaid the debt. The ROCs have been 28%, which is really good. Maharashtra Seamless, Wonderla Holidays, SRF, Imkan India, Kazaria Ceramics, Hyderabad Industries, Relaxo Footwear, Wheels India, Bharat Dynamics, Finolex Industries, Schaeffler India, Vinati Organics, Lao Pela, Mahindra Logistics, Kawai Medical are some of the names that are coming up. So you can see some of the names, study some of the sectors, check out some of the companies where the gross block has increased, but the debt has not been taken in a huge proportion, and most importantly, the ROCs have been maintained. So if I want to see that, are there any companies now in this list, I will come across a lot of companies, but again, these companies, I want to see that, are there any companies in the same list which are trading at less than TTM price earning basis of say 15 times. So I can find some of the names. Aditya Birla Corporation was one, Exide Industries, Deepak Nitrite, Maharashtra Seamless is there, L&T Technologies is there, Finolex Industries is there, and depending on your own choice of the sector and companies, I think you can find some of the companies in the space. I think we have gone through 4 screeners. Kritika, can you hear me, right? Because I'm the only one who is speaking. I hope it's clear till now, right? Motor team,
Yeah, Varinder, please go ahead.
it's good, right, till now?
Yeah,
Cool.
we can clearly hear.
Lovely. So, as I said, we have gone through 4 screens right now. There could be many more screens depending on whatever you want to like in the company. And as I said, there are many databases like Capitaline, Ace, Screener.in, Tijori, Stockage, and all. You can use whichever platform you want to use in order to understand some of the names. But the idea is that if you start your work uh, with the data, with screening at least, the the chances of you making mistake goes down drastically. So as I said, that rejection is more important than selection. First, depending on your own nature of investing, you try and reject the company. So someone will not be comfortable with debt. Someone will not be comfortable with promoter holding less than 50%. Someone will not be comfortable with that. They don't. These companies are not having cash flows, and anyone can have various views. So try and have that data-driven approach when it comes to investing. Because if you do that, your chances of making mistake goes down drastically. But as I said, the disclaimer here is that screening part is only 10 to 20% of the work done. The maximum work has to go behind in order to understand the sector, the company, the cash flows, the management, and everything going ahead. But at least you will come to know that if in the history of last 5-10 years this company has tried to maintain the balance sheet, the numbers, has not disappointed investors in terms of the balance sheet cycles. In a bad cycle, of course, everyone gets hurt, but then this company may come back or not. So that's very important. The last thing I want to focus on that is, are there any opportunities? Because this is a question which I often get from a lot of people. That what happens in coronavirus? So in the last, honestly, admittedly, in the last 10-15 days, a lot of these uh, companies which are impacted highly by coronavirus have moved up. We have taken some exposure in few names. But the idea here is that if I want to invest in the beaten down time, in the most beaten down time, when people think that everyone is gone for toss, the world is going to end, and everything has happened. So what should I see in the company, in that company where I want to invest my money in? So if I have to see as a process again, this illustration is only for example. We have vested interest. Our PMS holds investment in the company, but we will be discussing in. But the idea here is only to understand the process of thinking, to identify investment or not. So when I want to look at something which is an opportunity in times of coronavirus, one, it has to be a sector leader. Second, the debt equity has to be less than 1 or 2, depending on the sector it is in. Then, of course, the net worth has to be strong for the company in order that the company can go through next 3-6 months at least. And the fourth most important thing is that the supply side. As I said, I'm one thing I'm been learning a lot is that we don't know what happens to demand. We don't know what happens to demand in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or even 1 year. But what is certain is that all the small hands, all the weaker hands in terms of companies will suffer more and may go out of the business also. So who is left? If an industry has 15, 20 players right now, before the coronavirus, after the coronavirus, we'll be left with only 2 or 3, the strongest players in that sector. And when the demand comes back, these are the only names which will get the most benefit going ahead, most benefit going ahead. But as I said, the important is that the balance sheet has to be most stronger for them. So one sector which we have been buying, we think that this is one sector which will come back after the coronavirus is the hotel sector. So just guessing the company, as I said, our PMS holds investment in the company. The illustration is only for educational purpose, just to understand the process through it. So just guess the company. It's a South Asia's largest hospitality company with a legacy of 116 years. The room sizes have more than doubled in the last decade. The last quarter, what the company reported was the the best in the decade by the company. I'm sure you might have guessed this company. We were talking about Indian hotels. So, just imagine what happened to the company. I'll start with the market cap. The market cap of the company went below 8,000 crore. So 8,000 crore was the level what it saw back in 2008. Almost 10 years wiped out because of the coronavirus. Almost 10 years wiped out. Look at in the last 10 years the sales of the company. The sales of the company the last 10 years have moved from some 2,500 crore to as high as nearly 4,700 crores, almost double in terms of sales in the last 10 years. EBITDA around 1,000 crore EBITDA was trailing EBITDA what the company reported. Margins have moved from 6-7% to as high as 13%, which is good. Profit of nearly 400 crores on a trailing basis. Dividend paying company. So you can see dividend paying company. So in terms of P&L, if I just see nearly 8,000 crores market cap company, which it came down to, sales of 4,500 crores, EBITDA of 1,000 crores. That is most important. I think EBITDA number you should keep in your mind. And look at what happened in the last 10 years. I think the peak debt for the company was some 5,000 crores, 4,700 crores. So it has come down to as low as 1,500 crores. So in the last 10 years, they have moved the debt to as low as 1,500 crores from 5,000 crores. The ROCs have come back to 8%, not the best one, which a lot of people would want to, because we were in the screeners gunning for 15%, 20%. But in this business, where it's a capital intensive business, so still it has come back from what it used to be nothing. It has come to 8%, which is okay. The cash from operations is important. You can see the cash from operation for this company has been constantly in the plus since last many years. The cash flow to EBITDA for this company again has been constant, always in the plus, which is a good thing. Of course, it's a negative working capital company where the cash conversion cycle days are in the negative. So the idea was that if a 1,000 crore EBITDA company, even if the debt is 1,500 crores, 150 crores interest cost, it can easily survive. Coming from the Tata legacy and all, this company came to what EV per room calculation of less than 1 time, which is the lowest in the last nearly 15 years. So now the idea is, can the sector survive? First of all, that's very, very important. So do you think, as per your analysis, can the sector survive? I think yes. Can the company survive? I think yes. If it has to get in the companies which are remaining, if it has to be one of them. It has to be either Taj or Oberoi. Is the balance sheet strong enough for the company? I think it is strong enough because of the debt reduction what this company has done. Now, when can the demand come back? Yes, there has to be pain for next 3 months, 6 months, even for 1 year, I could say. But 10 years of hard work what this company has done can't be wiped off with coronavirus, and 6 months or say even 1 year pain. So I think kind of valuation, as I said, क्या लेना है और किस भाव पे लेना है is the only thing we can control. And किस भाव पे लेना है, you want to buy this company at EV per room multiple of less than 1 times, which normally is between 2.5, 3 times, is your choice. So that is how you have to think in this kind of market scenario. So you will get a lot of interesting ideas during this time. The idea is you have to just follow the process. You have to follow the strictest guidelines what is there in your mind in terms of as an investor. But some of the companies, whether the Nifty goes to 10,000, 8,000, 12,000, I don't know, but some of the prices of these companies of some of the companies are not going to come back, because people understand that the demand deterioration for some sectors are not here to continue forever. And the kind of valuation multiple some of these companies came is just irrational, just irrational. So as I said, you avoid mistakes with a full data oriented process, and you will make money. And why do we make mistakes? We make mistakes because sometimes we are overconfident. Sometimes when emotions precede data, when the stock screens precede Excel, and when luck overtakes skills, when people think that they are the Fanne Khan, they can do a Shivaji and everything, they can do whatever in the market. So I think that is the most dangerous thing to do in the market. So you enjoy the process. The process could be anything. We follow this strict process, which is followed by data. We want to buy companies which are where there is a margin of safety, where we don't pay huge abnormal premium to buy some of the names. There are enough companies, as I've shown you. There could be many more companies apart from the list what I have highlighted in the 4-5 names, 4-5 screeners. There can be more names, but the idea here is that there are reasonable number of companies for you to go back and study and learn more about them. So you enjoy the process. The results will follow. 100% they will follow. If not now, after a few months, because some of the companies where there is value, it will come. So ज़्यादा कमाना है कि जल्दी कमाना है, the choice is yours. I want to earn more, not in hurry. So I'm happy with the process which I have explained here. You can write to me. Thanks for listening to yet another webinar. I have shared my email IDs as well, so you can reach to me if you want to reach me, on these email IDs. Happy to have some eggs or tomatoes even thrown at me, or discuss anything related to this presentation going ahead. But thanks once again for listening to me. Thank you, Kotak Securities, for organizing this. I hope I was useful to a lot of people who were listening to me.
Thank you. Indeed, it was a really insightful session. Akshay, would you like to take some questions?
Thank you, Varinder. Couple of questions. So we've been getting a few questions on the chemical companies. You've been bullish on chemical companies for some time. So, you've taken some bit of it earlier, basis the screeners.
Sorry, Akshay, I was not able to hear you.
I think there was some issue with my connection. So there was a question, there are a couple of questions actually on the chemical companies. I think, you were bullish on chemical companies earlier. At these valuations, are you still bullish? What is your call there?
So yes, to be honest, we are still bullish. As I said, we are bullish on the manufacturing theme going ahead. So let me explain you. Manufacturing is not only important for chemical companies. I think manufacturing is very, very important for India. I think which Modi ji has understood very, very clearly. They are trying to do a lot of things, and they will do a lot of things because there is no other choice. There is no other choice for India apart from depending on the manufacturing sector to accelerate growth in terms of GDP. If India has to, go ahead and do something in the world. So now, whether you want to choose chemicals, APIs, pharma, healthcare, electronic manufacturing, or any other sector, there are many. Textiles we don't talk again. It's not sexy. Automobiles is there, metals is there, power is there. There are many manufacturing sectors which are there. So we remain focused on most of the sectors to study. Chemicals, again, as I said, the cycle is there. China has helped to accelerate the cycle for these companies. Now whether we are buying fresh, no, we are not buying fresh in some of these names. We already hold, many of chemical names. We have reduced our allocation in some of the names going ahead. Because honestly, when we were buying many companies at 10, 12 price earning multiples, when people were not listening to us, right now everyone is jumping on some of these companies which are trading at 25, 30 times. I'm surprised at some of the names which are even trading at 70, 80 times in this space. So I think, as I said, I want to follow a principle of growth at reasonable price. GARP. I don't want to pay excessive in terms of buying any company, whether it's chemicals itself. So we have cooled down. We are not buying fresh. Is there value in many names? There are value in few names which is still there in chemicals, but we are not going gung ho in terms of adding a lot in this sector. We are happy to sit on these companies where we have bought at the low levels. But there are many sectors in manufacturing, I think, as I said, which we are studying, which we think are unsexy right now, but which can prove a lot more valuable going ahead. Power, infra, B2B businesses, utilities are areas, I think, which should warrant an attention for any investor.
Thank you. Another question is on, there has been a lot of volatility on the NBFC space. Specifically, people have asked a few questions on stocks like Bajaj Finance. So what is your view on those, and would the volatility continue? What do you see going forward?
Actually, you remember the slide which I showed you on Apple, right?
Yeah.
In terms of drawdown.
Yes.
So so as I said, time ki baat hai. It's it's all related to cycle. So I think people just want everything at one go, and people think that if everything is there, it will just go up and up and up and up. So in India, if you want to buy the best company, you will only have 2 or 3 names in that sector. So if you want to buy if you're focused on and if you think that the credit growth story of India is going to shine, and you will have more than 10% credit growth in India going ahead, and for that reason you want to buy a private sector bank, you have to only do one thing. You want to buy the best bank, private sector bank, which has proven historically. So whether it is Kotak or HDFC, you decide for yourself, right? So you want to buy a paint company, it has to be Asian Paints or Berger Paints. People have burned hands thinking about to buy a 4th, 5th, 6th company and thinking that will become a Kotak or HDFC or Asian Paints or Berger Paints. It does not work. The turnarounds are rare, but it does not work. You may be very, very lucky for whatever reasons in 1 or 2 or 3 names, but it does not work. Now, Bajaj Finance, this is a good company. It's a great company. It's a great management. But please understand, when it started, the 2002 cycle started because at that time, everyone was over leveraged. Everyone, whether it was corporates, whether it was private sector banks, everyone was over leveraged. The only balance sheet which was not leveraged at that point of time was the consumer balance sheet in 2011, 12. Only the consumer balance sheet was not leveraged. And now if you just see the consumer balance sheet, it is again coming to a cycle which is over leveraged. So we have seen 10 years of phenomenal run in terms of accelerated growth in some of these names what we talked about. It is not less. It used to trade at less than book value. It traded at 8 to 10 times book value. So now the idea here is that whether that 30, 40, 50% growth will come back or not. As I said, it is very important to understand cycles. I don't think that 30, 40, 50% growth will come back in a hurry. So if it's not coming, and now the question is of survival rather than growth. So if I'm thinking of survival, should I pay 4, 5 times, 8 times to any company or not? I will not pay. As I said, if you follow growth at reasonable price, these are the important things to understand, that you can't just pay anything for anyone, whether it is the best of the bank or best of the company. So if I get growth, I can pay whatever I want to pay. But right now, the growth is not coming in financial services as much. Now you can argue whether it should trade at 2 to 3 times or whether it should trade at 5 or 6 times. Now that's an argument, right? Which could go anywhere. But whether the cycle is coming back or not, I think that's a bigger question to talk about, whether the growth is coming back or not. We have stayed away. We honestly don't invest in lending businesses. We only invest in non-lending financial services businesses. Now, whether those are stock exchanges, whether those are digitization platforms, whether those are asset management companies, insurance companies, we focus more on the non-lending side. Because on the lending side, I believe there are only 2, 3, 4 companies in India who knows how to get back the money. Giving money is very easy. Getting back money is the most important in India. So it has to be only 3, 4 names. But honestly, those names are beyond our reach in terms of the valuations. But we pay for some of the names. So that's it on Bajaj Finance.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Virender. Over to you, Kritika, for the question.
Thank you so much, Akshay. Thank you, Virender. So this session was really insightful. We have some great insights, and all thanks to you. I hope our participants enjoyed this session. It was indeed very insightful, quite in-depth. On behalf of our participants and Kotak Securities, I'd like to thank you for taking out your time and sharing your insights with us.
Well, thank you so much. As I said, Kotak Securities, Sai, and everyone for organizing this. I just hope it's helpful for all of us. And it was helpful for me to learn and get back to desk in terms of preparing more and more data. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for taking out your time. Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, Virender. Bye.